At the bottom of the hour, proud to have Chris Pezman at the University of Houston with us on 365 Sports. And Chris, thanks for your time. Did you ever think this schedule would ever be released in the first place?
I knew it was coming eventually, but, it's pretty cool to be able to sit in this role and have the opportunity to be here while this happens. I can't tell you how the feedback we've gotten from our fans now that this is out and official, and how excited everybody is. The opportunity to be in state with the rivalries we have, some we haven't had a chance to play in a long time, and be able to jump in your car and drive 90 minutes to go play a game and see your team play is everything we've been wanting for decades, and it couldn't be more excited that we finally made it to this day.
Well, whatever happens with Texas and Oklahoma, if this is in fact the last year, you guys do get the Longhorns at home on October 21st. How important was it for Houston individually to make that particular game that way happen?
Yeah, it's it kind of just broke our way. It wasn't any magic to it from our end, but the opportunity to get Texas here on campus at TDECU was as important as anything. That opportunity for us with this schedule coming out, and we've been asked quite a bit, because we've moved games in the past to the NFL stadium, but that's something with now that we're moving into Big 12 isn't anything that we'll necessarily consider in the future. And, playing that game on campus is for all the right reasons. And it's why we built a stadium on campus, over 10 years ago. And this is why we do those things. So we get a chance to have teams like Texas come in here and Baylor and Tech. And I'm rambling a little bit. I apologize, but this is pretty special day for us as a university and for me personally, just because I was here when things fell apart with the Southwest Conference. I was interning for the AD at that time, so I got to feel it firsthand, and now I'll be on the other side of it. It's pretty darn exciting.
Chris, what was the first thing that you looked for? What do you typically look for when a new schedule drops?
Yeah, for me, it's you're trying, and I'm going to be kind of silly about it, but get it a little bit more inside baseball, I guess. So I'm looking for competitive balance. I'm trying to make sure that we get the same number of days off as the opponents, things like that, and use the Texas game as an example. They play OU and then get a bye, and then we play them. They get an extra few days, but we're playing West Virginia on a Thursday, so we gain some of those days back before we play Texas. There are certain oddities that come out during the schedule, and you're just trying to work through those to make sure you're putting your team in the best position competitively that you can. But obviously for us, you pivot then to the opponents, getting a chance to get those teams in your Oklahoma State, and some of our American rivals with Cincinnati here, and then, getting a chance to get Oklahoma State here and go to K-State for the first time in my career. Things like that are what, you kind of look to, because there's some uniqueness to it that we haven't had a chance to do in a long time.
Chris, was there any infighting, and I don't mean that so much in a negative way, but was there a lot of possible hey, we're just not we don't want to play here? Or was there any of that as this thing tries to just mesh together for 1 year?
If there was, it wasn't anything I saw or heard. It's kind of funny, again, a little behind the scenes. So when they normally give the schedules, we'll get a call from Scott Draper, who's head of football operations for the Big 12, and he'll give it to you verbally, but you only get your schedule. And so you don't necessarily get to see you don't get to see or hear everybody else's schedule. So it certainly minimizes the amount of, well, so-and-so gets to do this and we want the same opportunity. That doesn't happen. You get your schedule, you work through any uniqueness that schedule has in that year. And really what you're looking for is, let's say it's the same day as a graduation on campus, or there's some citywide event that may impact you that you just have to be conscious of. But, what's fun about this as we make this transition is we were on receive mode for a long time. And now as we transition to Big 12, particularly in the city of Houston, now we get to start carving out our own niche even more so and start demanding the attention that the program deserves and needs as we make this transition to Big 12 with obviously the caliber of opponents that will be coming here.
So is this year's schedule a total one-off given the fact that Texas and OU could be gone next year? It seems like the momentum is there for that. And even if they're not, it wouldn't necessarily be return trips and all that. You'd maybe have to mix it up again. So this schedule is not going to get like the back end of return trips, and then no matter what happens by 2025, you have to restart this? Is that how that's going to work?
Yeah, it's a true one-off. It's going to be managed year to year, and it doesn't necessarily assume that, you know, if we go to Baylor, that they're coming back next year. We're taking strictly as 23 schedule, and we'll address 24 once we get a little bit further along.
So, what has, I guess, the feedback been? Or, I mean, have you talked to Coach Holgerson already about this? I mean, who have you been able to talk to? I know it's only been out now for about, you know, an hour or so at this point, but I can sense the excitement. So what's that kind of been like since this has dropped?
Oh, yeah. I mean, sure, you know, football coaches go straight to, we're playing 10 bowl teams from 22, and what the hell have you done to me? You know? So, yeah, I've gotten that feedback. But, you know, and then Dana, you know, we've been advocates, and we've been able to do it here at Houston because we've just had a little bit more flexibility of, you know, early season games. Do you get those off of Saturdays and move them to a Thursday? And it gives you the benefit of added visibility. But now, you know, as we mature as a program and as a department, you know, we have to be a little bit more thoughtful about those opportunities of whether we do them or not. And so, you know, Dana was like, hey, let's take UTSA and move it to a Thursday. I mean, and this was just anecdotally having that conversation. But now, you know, for us, with the strength of the schedule we have, you know, keeping it on Saturdays when people could travel, the traditional aspects that, and frankly, we've had to be a little untraditional, we're able to get more into the regular rhythm of what you expect a fall to be with your football program.
Chris, I know that you know Mac Rhodes incredibly well, and of course his time there at Houston. You know, you guys were supposed to play in Waco, what was it, 2-3 years ago in that COVID year, and that was kind of a strange occurrence. Do you and Mac yet have any kind of bet, so to speak, on what you're going to do?
No bet yet, but I'm sure that'll come, you know, and I'll have some fun with Mac. You know, he's a pretty snazzy dresser. I'll have to come with something that's a little bit more tone deaf for him, you know, as we get into it. But, you know, the league in general, you know, I was here with Mac for 2 years. I was the football ops guy. He's been incredibly helpful as we've made this transition, has been a great, you know, person that I'm able to lean on and get some insights. Jeremiah at TCU has been great. Really, the league as a whole has been really ingratiating to us as we make this transition. And, you know, we go to meetings. We're not official members yet until July 1st, but everybody's been very receptive to us being in the room. And as we make this transition, it's exciting. And also, you know, at the same time, Brett's coming on as the commissioner. And I got to give Brett a lot of credit. He has done an incredible job in a very short period of time, particularly for somebody that has been in sports and entertainment, but is coming from outside of college athletics. And, you know, his attitude and frankly, his aggressiveness has served us as a league very well in a very short period of time. And there's a lot of things he's got on the table and that will come out in the future that he's working on. And everybody will understand what we see and how excited we are for him to lead us during this transition.
Chris, you mentioned what today means because it's official. You now have a schedule, and obviously what it meant back in the fall of 21 when it became official. Your gut feeling, Paul mentioned the one-off, you mentioned the one-off. Do you feel like perhaps starting in 2024, the 12 teams, the incoming 4 and the 8 remaining teams will have their own conference?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I feel, you know, I think – and when you say on conference, let me clarify that. You're just talking about us operating without the 2 that may leave kind of deal.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, there's been some conversations recently that I'm not privy to, and so I'm just going to probably duck that question for right now. And I apologize. You know, I tend to be pretty open about those things. I don't know enough about it, and I know there's some recent conversations that I haven't heard yet. So I frankly just don't know.
No, that's good. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but it's obviously there. But let's celebrate 23. The schedule's out. It's great to have you on the show. We really appreciate you. Welcome to the Big 12 officially, and have a great day.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you, for me, you know, I grew up in Texas and I played here, and you know, getting in it, I got, you know, my assistant came in and said, hey, these guys want to talk to you from 365. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. I mean, that to me is the fun stuff. And so it was a bit of a bucket list item moment for me to be able to be on with you guys today. So thank you very much. And I look forward to doing this again. And feel free to call on us, and we couldn't be more excited.
Well, we will, and as I tell everyone else who's joined the conference, block our number because we'll be bothering the hell out of you. Hey, Chris, I can hear and feel the excitement in you and the University of Houston, of course, the Cougars fan base, and everyone else around the campus and history. Thanks for your time. Look forward to more.
All right, fellas. Look forward to it as well, and have a great day. And you got some good guests coming on, and enjoy it. Take
Yes,
care.
sir. Chris Pezman, Houston Vice President of Athletics. And again,